the question is, what are you eating? Now, the question that led me to my journey of what I am eating is because my system, you hear me, already start clogging up. And I was like a willy-nilly just going through life, you know. I wasn't abusive in what I eat. I'm not going to lie. I've always been very conscious of what I eat, both spiritually and naturally. However, as conscious as I was, things still slide in because I didn't have an understanding. I know probably eat that, but don't eat that. And that was based on my little knowledge, my taste bud, what my body crave, and so forth. Now I want to listen to my guts because being 40 and over, your gut will start talking to you, okay, baby? When I was in my 15, my 18s, my 25, my 35, well, not 35, but maybe 35 is where it begins to went like, oh, okay. But maybe until maybe 30, right? Up until my 30, 33, thereabout. My gut was like a goat. I could eat anything, and I believe that because I did not see any signs of it destroying me, then that means I am invincible and it can't destroy me because I didn't see an instant reaction. Little I knew this, but I did not apply it, that what I sow in my teens, I would reap in my 20s, and what I sow in my 20s, I would reap in my 30s. And what I sow in my 30s, I am now reaping in my 40s. So therefore, I have to pay more attention as I go up in years and some things don't work like they used to or don't have that because I wasn't maintaining them. I was just eating to live. To be honest, I eat because I was hungry. I didn't go out and necessarily say, yeah, you need some vegetable on your plate. Yeah, I get that. But I was eating more to live. Like, hey, you hungry? Put something in your stomach. That was how I was eating. I wasn't a fast food junkie. I did like sweet, not overly, but in its portion. I did salt. I did what I thought. I didn't have problems, so I figured out don't fix it if you don't have an issue, right? So therefore, that is how it's been for me. Now when I recognize that, wait a minute, where is all this mucus coming from? I have way too much mucus going on, and I begin to look at my dairy intake, my anything that has to do with dairy, my milk, things that are clogging me. Why am I producing so much mucus? We call it sinusitis, right? When you have too much mucus buildup, right? I hear this other young man say, when you have too much mucus in your sinus area, you call it sinusitis. When you have it build up in your muscle area, you call it arthritis. And when you have mucus build up in your gut, I forgot the one for that, but they're all this is going on, right? But mucus is a big part of what the disease and the bacteria, if you notice, bacteria kind of look like mucus anyway. They just have this slimy thing going on. So yes, sis. Food that are alive will let your body feel alive. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that because one of the things is that if you're eating things that make you feel alive, right? And that has a lot to do with portion too. Please pay attention to our portion as we're eating, because if we overeat, we will fall into a sort of lethargy, very sluggish, because now you overpack your system and your body has to shut things down in order to process that which you just put in it, right? So that's one thing that I am learning to watch. Because as a third world, all my meals were not what you would call it. I think breakfast, lunch, and dinner was the necessary, right? Or breakfast and dinner, lunch, depending. But we could like do some rice and something, yeah. But what had happened was that we eat enough to keep us, right? So we eat to keep us because we were running around, we were playing, we were climbing mountains, we were climbing trees, we were swimming across rivers, we were, so all that energy was being burned up. So you were more hungry. So yeah, we have 5-6 hours of outside time, 8 hours of being outside playing. So yes, I could eat 3 cups of rice because it would be, right? You would burn that up. You were climbing trees. You were scaling down fences. You were, shooting birds. That was before animals have rights, by the way. We were, and we were doing these things. We were really wild. We were living the true life, right? Oh, I miss those days. I miss those days. But because of that, we were burning what we were eating. We weren't sitting around like now. I wasn't sitting around like now. So therefore, I have to rethink how I eat and how I portion. Because if I'm not using up all that, I don't need to eat as when I was physically more active, right? But now I can say less is more because I really just, most of my days is spent in my house on the first floor, not even up and down, on the first floor. Once I come down in the morning, I stay down, right? So I'm not even climbing stairs, most of the time. So then I have to take that into consideration to say, what is it that I am eating? Because I eat breakfast, I eat lunch, I eat a late snack, and I eat dinner. So is that according to my lifestyle now, or that was when I was wild and free, right? How am I adjusting that? And as I'm adjusting that, am I eating things that are easily digested in my body? Because if it's not easily digested in my body, it is keeping up space. And if it is keeping up space, then it is a dead thing inside of you. Because your body is built with a filtration system that you would pass out what you don't need. But that is through digestion, right? But because of what we're eating is not body friendly or is not friendly to our gut, it takes a longer time to break down. And I believe somebody was helping me to break this down last night, where I believe fruits and vegetables is within a couple hours that those things are broke down into your system and you pass them out real quick. This is why you get hungry faster, because they don't stick to your ribs, right? That's a term we use. That's when your food takes a longer time to break down. So, and they said, like, produce, like, if you're going to go for yams and bananas and plantains and stuff like that, you might be looking at 12, 14 hours for the breaking down, but you're already using the bathroom 2 or 3 times a day, which is healthy. Not 2 or 3 times a week, 2 or 3 times a day. Now, if truth be told, if I used the bathroom 1 time a day, it was a lot. So I get to understand that, like Nadine, you were doing a lot of things that was not good for your body. You did enjoy that youthful time where you didn't see the repercussions of your choices and the consequence of your choices yet. But be not deceived, whatsoever you sow, that you will reap. So now we're paying attention to what is going in the digestive process. Is how long is this going to take to digest? And you be the call for that, right? If you are eating something that is a ground produce, yam, bananas, produce, herbs, tomatoes, vegetables, corn, root vegetables, all of those things, then it's going to come through your system. It doesn't have anywhere to stick. We're not dealing with anything being processed yet. So there are no additives. And if there are no additives, then everything is from the earth. And it should be friendly to you because you're also from the earth, right? So all of this is not foreign to your body. You are from the earth, like these things are. So the problem occurs when you start to eat things that has the breath of life in them, right? That's where the problem really starts now. And for some people, it's fine. They can manage it. I still would live a high plant a high plant-based diet, where maybe 60% of your food is plant-based. I am not saying that everybody should go vegan. I'm not saying everybody should give up meat, because that's not sustainable for a lot of people. I get that. In all you're getting, get understanding. What I'm saying is pay attention to your stomach, because your stomach will tell you what is good for you and what is not. If you start to have aches and pains and allergic food reaction and intolerance to different food, I believe your body's trying to tell you something. Yes, sis, I am definitely getting healthier this year, because you are a big part of what you eat. And this is not spiritual. This is the fact of life, okay? From the beginning, eat these things. And when we begin to start eat dead things, processed things, things that are of very little value to our body, then our body is either working overtime to get the little life out of the dead thing that you just fed it, or, guys, or you end up having that, you end up being a grave or a sepulcher for that dead thing that you just eat. So you end up being the trash can for that dead thing that you just ate. Because your stomach, again, is not designed to break down some things. But so we have to deal with the issues of that. And everybody have to give an account for their own life. I can't tell you what to do, but you have to do what is good for you. So in choosing what I have decided to eat and pay attention to is a very high plant-based diet. And I have done some research, but it was really keen when I looked in the Bible to see that people were living to be 1,000 when they weren't eating meat. I just thought that was before the slaughtering and the killing and that sort of thing start happening, right? Excuse me. Before that sort of thing start happening, we saw where men were living longer. And I'm not saying that any diet will allow you to live forever, because it's already appointed for you to die. What I am trying to do is not die before my time. Can I get an amen? I'm not trying to live forever in this body, because I got somewhere that I got to be. But I just want to be there when it's the right time and not before time, all right? And I mean, saints or sinners, so many people, I believe, that have passed on before their time because of diseases, because of bacteria, because of viruses. We are in a pandemic now with a virus too, right? And it plagues on our breathing system, right? And you hear where if you have the word I'm looking for is pre-consisting, I think that, but other sicknesses, right? You have other illness before. You are of a great threat, right? It is a great threat to you, right? It also talks about older people that are their immune system in our longevity. It does, sis. It does. Because it was right here in the first chapter of the first book, before we start to figure out how to have babies, before we get married, before all that kind of stuff, before up till now, God has not said anything about religion or that kind of stuff yet. But he's talking about what you should eat. That should say something.